Hello and welcome back to 9 Years in China with the old teacher here, Kenny Boston. Hope you're doing okay. Don't forget to watch and like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff to my videos. I need your help too. This will be another teacher edition video. I'm going to make a little series of videos, try to help you new teachers. If you're just got to China, or you're about to come to China, your paperwork's getting processed or whatever, this is a big, big time in your life. And I know you can't wait to go jump in that classroom and teach them everything you've learned and change the world, and China's going to become a democracy. We can all hope. But the truth of the matter is, China needs your excitement. The students need your excitement. But it's hard to change the world. But you can start with just letting your students buy what you're selling. Okay? It sounds funny, but it's true. You got to get inside their heads, and it's got to be for real. You got to teach those students with love. If they're doing bad, you tell them they're doing bad. If they act up in class, you get on to them. Be parental about it, and they'll respond just fine. Now, remember, as you watch these videos, just remember that I taught over there in the public colleges and in the smaller cities, like 1 million people. Tier 3 cities. But what I'm going to tell you, you can work in any class depending on the kind of school you're in. You can take something from my videos and it'll help you in class. I've just done it so much, and I've had such good relationships and response from the students, and I've been gone from China almost 2 years, and I talk to somebody every day. There's somebody from China I talk to every day, whether there's some girl that's reading English to me or has, questions for her students. A lot of my students are teachers now, and they're mommies and daddies and things. But if you've been following the videos, I've told you we're kind of just getting things started. During the first part of the college year, you can do lots of teaching and start gradually cutting the students loose. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. And if you're teaching English majors, again, you're probably teaching freshmen or sophomore. Maybe if you're lucky, you might get some junior students. That's still a little bit of debate in China about whether the third-year students need a foreign teacher. I think they do, especially if they're going to be teachers. Today, you got to teach, but not. You got to teach them things, but not let them get bored. So if you are lucky, and we're going to pretend most of my classes are like this, except for the last couple of years I was in China, you had those students for 2 periods. And the thing I would usually do next, after just playing with them and getting them to loosen up and like you, I might get a little serious, and I start pointing at some of the students, and I say, what makes English hard for you? And it's usually always the same answers, but I like to hear it coming out of their mouths and their friends going, oh yeah. And usually it's listening. They have a really, really hard time with listening, because we native speakers do not sound like the Chinese teachers. Okay? For good reason, we're native speakers. But native speakers do things that makes it a little bit hard for them. The first thing you're going to have to learn to do is probably slow down a little bit, but not slow down too much. If you slow down too much, They're going to be going ting-ba-dong. So be conscious of not getting, as you get excited, you don't get too excited and it's just going over their head. And even a good English major, even a good English student, you can be way too much for them. Remember, they're picking up on this gradually. So make sure about this first. And remember, they love Hollywood, they love NBA, they love most things American. And so the American accent, whether it doesn't matter if you're north, south, east, west, the American pronunciation, the sharp R's and all that kind of stuff, they key in on these sounds. But anyhow, be understood. Don't go too fast. And for them, their goal is also ultimately going to be understood. And you talk to them about that, and we will when we'll be talking about pronunciation and things next. But ask the students, what is difficult about English for you? And they'll usually listening, or they'll say my spoken English is poor. My grammar is bad. And I tell them, man, y'all don't worry about all this stuff. I'll tell them, I'll be honest, I'll say, pronunciation is key to me because I need to understand your thought. You can be wrong grammatically, but I need to hear you as clear as possible to understand you. So I tell them that's always really important. But I try to make it not seem so serious. If they all say, oh man, our listening is bad, I say, well, just being in class with me is going to help your listening. And we'll do some listening exercises, and you guys can talk back and forth about the exercises. You can incorporate anything in your class. Remember that. The school, you're kind of a formality as a spoken English teacher or a foreign English teacher. So as long as the students are happy with what you're doing, the school is going to be happy. Because they ask the students about you all during the year. They'll want to know how you are doing. You will almost never, ever get a visiting teacher. And now sometimes they'll come in for a few minutes, if it's in between classes or whatever, they'll come in and sit in your class and have some fun. But most of the feedback comes from the students. So listen to what they have to say and try to develop your curriculum, your next classes, and find ways to help them. That's simple, right? And it is. And you'll make it fun. Whatever you do in those classes, make it so they enjoy it. Even if you're die-hard teaching, find some way for them to get into it. Now, what's probably going to happen? You got to keep things mixed up, and say you've done the introductions and you've played with some word stress, and you're having fun. They're buying what you're selling, but you don't want to overdo it. So let's take the time maybe now and let them have their first group discussions. And as a teacher over there, my methods had changed from year to year a little bit. I keep refining techniques to just be more productive. I want my students to speak the best English they can, and the only way they can be better at speaking English is to speak English. Really? I didn't know that. The deal is, the more you are flapping your mouth, the less time they have to actually speak English. Because when they get out of those classes, unless they're English majors and their next class is an English class, and even in those English majors and those other English classes, they don't speak hardly any English. The teacher will up there. She'll speak as much English as she can, and when she needs to, she'll translate everything back into Chinese. So they're battling back and forth up there teaching. But your class is the one where they actually get the most practice. And so what I found out, if they're going to become better speakers, they got to speak. So I get my stuff over with quick, and we'll jump in to like a group discussion. Now, group discussions work, and I'm going to tell you why, and this may be a long video here because of this. You give them a topic, and you put up on the board, up on the screen, maybe 20 questions. I wrote a book about this, and they got to ask each other those questions, and they got to answer, obviously. And you can get a big topic going really, really quick, and I had a variety of topics. But I knew if they're engaged with this topic, they're having fun, maybe it's about aliens, or it might be about Galcal, the college entrance exam, going to the zoo, your favorite animal, all this kind of stuff. They'll have fun with it. And what you do then, you explain to the class, here's what's going on. You got 5 or 6 people here, 5 or 6 people. I like groups really no bigger than about 6 people. And depending on the class, you may have 6 groups or whatever. But they're all doing the same thing. And after you tell them what you are expecting, it may take a class or two for them to totally understand. Then you just can go around from group to group and let them ask you questions about the subject. And you're listening to them, you're listening to how they're doing, and you're getting that feedback. You go to the next group. And the loud class, controlled chaos is what I call it. If you have a good class, a good oral English class, it's noisy. And the teachers way down the hall are probably going to hear your class doing this. And it can get loud. Hey guys, if you got that going, you're in the right direction. And like I said, I call it controlled chaos. But we go through, and you can do this all in one period. You can do some teaching in one period and just do the group discussions in another. But if you have one of those, if you're at a school or you teach a different class every period, the group discussions is probably all you'll ever be able to get done. But it's productive for them. Understand, you might not get the greatest fulfillment out of it, but when you go around and you listen and talk to those little faces, you know you're doing some good. And you've obtained what you're supposed to do. But listen to them, play with them, because when you're over there, if you're over there by yourself, and these are college students, these are going to be your friends too. So don't be shy about, hey guys, let's go out and eat hot pot or whatever. You take a different group out every week or do something. That stuff gets around, and again, they keep buying what you're selling. So anyhow, group discussions, if you're over there and trying to get a good curriculum, just remember in the back of your head, no matter how good of a teacher you think you are, you can teach them every grammar rule, every spoken English rule, whatever it is, they can be bored just hearing your knowledge, hearing your mouth flap. So let them practice. That's because that's what they're there for. Let them practice speaking as much as possible, and you just keep egging it on, being part of it, engaging in conversations with them. Maybe you are answering some of those questions along with them. You're playing with them. You know what? And they'll have fun in class, and they'll get something out of it. So, group discussions, guys. It's one of the only things that I know works every time. Okay? So anyhow, stay tuned for the next video, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.